So I'm really fucking annoyed. I did another two people and I lost the footage because my laptop died. So I'm not doing the lipsticks anymore because I'm realizing I don't have enough lipstick colors, and I kind of need to get a move on. And I have to redo the last two, which is good because I actually accidentally said one of the names. Okay, so with this one, are they an asset in the arena? I feel like they're kind of like, I don't remember what I said exactly as well. I think they're actually quite lazy in the arena, and they're like maybe a touch too emotional, but they're always in like the male kind of settings. They're in men's clothing, but they're not trying to do a men's bit. They're like a drinking buddies kind of Mustang bar, one of the guys, but in the most female way possible. And I think they are clarifying in the arena, but I'm not sure if they're an asset. And I think they're confused about whether they're an asset to themselves as well. Do I like, love, and or trust them? I think we try to like each other. I think we love each other like we're family, and then we maybe try and trust each other too much, but really we kind of don't trust each other as much as we would like. Rate the connection out of 100. Maybe like a 61. How upset would I be if they saw someone? I think this person is in everyone's nightmare for that. You picture them in a room with your man for 5 minutes and he's gone. And this has kind of been a burden to them, I think. But also, it's kind of a compliment, isn't it? Like, everyone's worried that you'll fuck their man. And if you're best friends with this type of person who could just steal your man in about 5 minutes, you know that they would. And you're okay with it. You're keeping them around. You understand. They're just what universally, I think, what the men would like. Would you ask them to be your bridesmaid? Oh, I'm annoyed because in the last version of this video I gave so much more, but now I'm irritated that I have to redo this, and I'm worried about what I said in the last one, not because it was wrong, but because I don't remember. So I feel like I'm not doing it as much justice. I definitely was talking more as well. But this one's like one of my best mates, and I think we're constantly finding similar versions of each other, and I think we're worried that we're really easy to reproduce and that we meant nothing to each other, but I think we're actually never quite like able to repeat that experience, which was really important. But then I think because I was where this person was, kind of redoing something, and they were doing it for the first time, I'm always worried that I'm not a sticky fingers person, but I'm a gripper. I like don't let go. And I think they're kind of floatier. They're kind of okay with letting shit go, or they say they are. And I was kind of in it more than I needed to be. And now it's a bit like, oh, you know, we said all of that, but did we really mean it? Was it really all that? Or was it just... And yet, You know, they're that person to me where we're both kind of, I know I'm in pink right now, but we're both kind of at the pub with a beer, doing the like weird drinking buddies moments together. And I think she's better at it than I am. And she's always nailing it. She has everything to say in that drinking buddies cutscene where you're at the brewery with the dudes with the fucking Mumford and Sons beards, kind of like one of the guys. I think she has that script absolutely memorized. And I'm like potentially a strange person to have in there that could improvise it a little too well. And that doesn't make me more special. I feel like you'd cut to her and you'd be like, fuck, like that's nailing it. And then you'd cut to me and be like, ooh, but that's kind of doing it too. And we're both maybe a bit confused by each other because of that. And yet we're like, no, there is something about you that feels necessary. And yet I don't think we're ever learning anything from each other. I think we're just kind of like at a almost cosmic understanding of each other that is potentially a little shallow and yet feels really deep. Anyways, will I ask them to be my bridesmaid? No, and I don't think they'd come to my wedding. What surreal scene are we always in together? This one's a touch unwoke, but they'll know it's them once I say it. So we're in a dog bone that is super, like, perfectly hollow, kind of like a pipe, and shiny, and with incredible acoustics, trying to figure out if we could maybe be gay, but also speaking in super kind of empty huffs, because we are actually terrified that the other one could get chosen by a man over us. So the place is getting kind of foggy, and the dog keeps picking us up and shaking us, so it feels like we're getting fucked by a micropenis. So we keep saying we just need to get fisted instead. That one's sus, but that's it. Right, next one. Are they an asset in the arena? Me and this person are always seen together in the arena, but we don't want to be. We're like a duo that would accidentally, for some reason, get famous in like one of those baseball kind of cutscenes from the pitch to the audience, and we'd be like, fuck, like we would get famous together, but we're always trying to avoid each other. We like don't want to be in the arena together, and yet we're always there together even when we're not together. So we kind of don't value each other, and yet we're exactly where we are supposed to be. So in a sense, this person is like kind of maybe on paper my actual best friend, but we can never figure out how to do it, yet we're always in the scene together. And it's not, it's like we'd be in the world's shortest podcast. And she'd be like, mm-hmm. And I'd be speaking, but it would feel like every single thing I'm saying is just like, mm-hmm, worthy. Like, I don't know, there's something. Do I like this person? I think we can't figure out if we like each other. And we hate loving. So we don't kind of love each other. And we are at a fundamental agreement that there's nothing worse than trusting anyone in there, so we don't trust each other, which is why we're always kind of like this. And I think we would, through every kind of, this is another person who, or this is a person who has also got a ton of insecurity like I do. And I think we've changed a lot in our lives. And we're always like each other's worst critic because we can see through everything. Like, it's like an insane degree of understanding. And with love stuff, we kind of potentially have a similar type. And yet we both agree that it's completely wrong. And we hate it. And we're always trying to level each other up, whilst in agreement that it's kind of like an avoidance of our deep insecurities. So every time we see each other at peak performance, we're like, as if. Rate the connection out of 100. Maybe like a 41. Or like a 56. How upset would I be if this person stole my man? But in the same breath, maybe like a 19, 18? No. We're like in the 50s. How upset would you be if they stole your man? I think we're both like so cognitive that it's no longer like feminist. It's actually like a sign of the end times. Like, we're like, if she stole my man, we just debrief with each other in seconds. We wouldn't care at all. And then we wouldn't speak for months. But we also wouldn't be upset with each other. We'd just be like, how do we avoid always being in it together? Would I ask them to be my bridesmaid? No. I feel like we'd... we'd be like a strange cardboard cutout at each other's wedding that's speaking like this, that no one else can see. Like, we'd be like a weird, like, we'd be each other's like actual nightmare before the wedding day. Like, we'd have like a moment and we'd like wake up and we'd be like, well, there's no way to appease that beast anyways. And then no matter what, the wedding would somehow feel about them, even though we don't want it to be. What surreal scene are we in together? Okay. I write this one down? Okay, I did, thank fuck. Okay. So she spots me in miniature form at her medieval banquet and tries to befriend me, but then realizes that isn't very her and starts grinding her teeth. That she showed me kindness by acknowledging me, but I keep interrupting her to sneak and pips. That only she can understand, and she hates it but she's sort of open to trying my suggestions, whilst I sort of prophesized to her, even though my suggestions to her feel like they're all an attempt by me to kill her. I hope the person that this one's about understands that it's them, and that I've done this, like, our relationship justice. Okay, this is one I didn't put on the list, but I'm a moron because I have a scene for them. Are they an asset in the arena? I think they're doing costuming in the arena, but they're like in the last kind of counters, they're kind of in a Chavia outfit, and they're trying to get all of the girls in there that are kind of one of the guys, not like other girls, into their costume by sort of being a friendly face to them. But she could easily do like the front makeup counters, except she'd get bullied there. And she's really like an asset, but she won't get deep with you. But as soon as you see her, you relax a little. Wait, let me see if I can find them. Okay. Do I like, love, and I trust them? I think we like each other, but we're unsettled by it. I think we actually love each other a lot, but we're scared that the other one doesn't. And then we trust each other, but it's a toss away. We're like, you're just kind of trustworthy, aren't you? We haven't tested it. And then in the same breath, maybe we sort of don't trust each other, but we always, this is a person that I think communication wise can weirdly understand me, like can really understand me. It feels like I'm speaking to a fucking blush mirror that's talking to me, and it's like, this is exactly what you actually need to hear. Rate the connection out of 100. On some days it's like a 35, and on other days it's like an 88. How upset would I be if they stole my man? I think we're both incredibly afraid of intimacy. I think neither one of us can actually do it, but she thinks I'm the more emotional kind of crybaby, and she thinks I think she's the Moulin Rouge sluttier one, and she's the more active one, I'm the more passive one. But I actually think we're the other way around a little bit. We're a little bit more the other way around, and I'm actually more active and she's a little bit more passive. But we're in like a cosmic agreement that every relationship we're in will never like sort of be able to truly crack the surface. No matter how many deep conversations we have about it, we're almost like metal men about it. Would I like them to be my bridesmaid? I think they'd be a generic kind of incredible bridesmaid, but I wouldn't like having them as a bridesmaid, and I think they would tell me that they're too good to be my bridesmaid, and they wouldn't actually come to my wedding. What surreal scene are we in together? Okay, so we're two mannequins in the plus size area of a newly purchased shop, getting cleaned for the first time in 5 years. And we keep thinking one of us will get chucked out, so we keep doing really poor and stale, sort of waffly stand up to each other that feels like preparation for our end. and we refuse to do any better than the other because we both sort of want it to be over, but in a kind of Charlie Chaplin comedy kind of way, where you're suspicious that both of us have 90% more depth than we do. You can perceive it, but we never go anywhere out of like that kind of Judy doll comedy thing, I think. Right, next one. This person is, I don't think will watch this video, but I kind of hope they do because I feel like I nailed our one. Are they an asset in the arena? I think they're like in the junkyard of the arena, or they're in all of the worst, like they're in the pipes. They're actually what some people I've mentioned before think they are. They're like the most intense version of that. They're like in the pipes, they're making the Molotov cocktails, they're like fighting the system in there, and they're chucking like grenades at everything. They're like, and in the same breath you kind of suspect that it's all for a man. Like it's tough, like you can't help it. Like it's like so on the nose, and yet you can't help it but think it's all like actually useless, not thought out, completely performative, and like a weird music video. But I think this person is an asset because as soon as people start thinking they're anti-establishment, I think they're completely like basic because I know them. Do I like, love, and or trust them? I think we like each other more than we could ever say to each other. And I think there is actual love there. And actual maybe trust there. But we're really honest with each other in kind of a fake way. Like, we don't trust a single thing that's coming out of the other one's mouth. And yet there's something so safe about that. Rate the connection out of 100. Like a 4, like an 11. That person's like a pure 11 to me. But in the same breath, there may be like a 44. They're like in the 11s times table for me every time. 11 times table. How upset would I be if they stole my man? This one's infuriating if she steals your man. I think if this one steals your man, they're in like, it's girl with a dragon tattoo moment. Like that, this is the actual person from that film. Like actually in real life, as close as I've ever seen a person trying to do that with potentially more unsafe settings, like more like urban exploration, more kind of like weird shit tacked on. And I think they know they'd be infuriating, but I think they're potentially worried that they're kind of like a midlife crisis gone severe for people in their 20s. And yet they're actually as alternative as it gets, which makes them difficult. I think not everyone will like this person, but everyone will be in awe of them. They're like, whoa, that exists. Could I ask them? They would fucking hate going to anyone's wedding, in my mind. They would be like burning furniture at my wedding. Yeah. And if they ever got married, I would be a cunt at their wedding going like, I knew it. I knew it was all a performance. That's the tricky line they're walking. They're getting so so anti in a kind of like not commercial way, and yet still like in a cool way, that they're almost fucking with you, because you, every time you see them, you're like, they'll come out of it, they'll come out. And yet the more you look at them, the more you're like, ooh, like they'd be a cool old person if they really kept up with it, but they have to be really aware that they're kind of like, they could take it too far, yet you kind of do trust that they'll be fine. Right, I have one written down for this one, and it's so on the nose. Again, fuck, where is it? Pop, 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 pop. Fuck, I know I wrote this one down. Okay, there you go. Okay, so we're in a Russian prison cell together at the bottom floor of the underground levels for stealing quinoa from a truck that was actually covert Russian intelligence. Thinking about how funny it would be if we'd met at university and she always managed to prove that my boyfriends were easy to cheat with and was always right, but she was actually lying just to fuck with me, and I always secretly knew that, but my blood sugar was so low in this prison cell, and in this like fantasy version off of that, that no matter what, every time she said that they fell for it and cheated with her, in the story, I would puke blood, so she knew that I actually believed her, and no matter what, every time she does it, I buy it. I think I'm sorry, these are very weird. Okay, this is another person I forgot to put on the list, but they're literally, like, to me, they're my soulmate. Let me see if I can find the thing. Yeah. Okay, are they an asset in the arena? I think this person thinks they're kind of too cool for the arena, and they keep, like, doing graffiti in the arena. They're doing, like, Subway Surfers in the arena. And they're like in weird, they're not in mid-90s, they're in that Tony Hawk kind of skate park version, and they're not actually doing the wheelies, like they're not on the skateboard nailing the performance, but they're not one of the girls on the side like trying to fuck the guys. They're like almost directing it. And to some extent, they're worried that they will die there, because there's not the place actually isn't full of assets, and they know that. But for some reason, they think they should be there, and they're committed to nailing that section of the map. Do I like, love, and or trust them? I like this person too much, but it kind of borders on objectification, where they are sort of like a pair of shoes that I'd really, really, really want, but instead I want them to buy the shoes, say they don't like them, and give them to me instead, so I feel like they've thought of me before. Do I love them? I really love them in a way that feels completely mid-tier and yet is absolute. This could very well be like a notch in my spine kind of a relationship. And as soon as this person mentions they like other people, I get irritated. And but I do this quite a lot. I'm like, with the people I really give a fuck about, I'm competitive, but I'm kind of like a D-tier swimmer in the pool. But for some reason, I want the person to really fuck with me and my D-tier swimming. I want that preferential treatment that I'm not sure I've really earned. Do I trust them? I think when we're together, we're like a pair of cowboys. And we're as close to being cowboys together as it ever fucking gets. And I'm the slightly kind of like, I'm the chucker, the one that's kind of a tiny bit more passive in the back. And she's really shooting, but she's also almost identical to me as a kid. So I have like this weird, like, even though she's slightly older than me, I feel like the big sister kind of a relationship with this person. So we trust each other about as much as you can trust each other at a shootout in the American desert. Rate the connection out of 100, like an 100. Like, this person is in the 100 camp for me. How upset would I be if they stole my man? I think she wouldn't give a fuck about my man, but she'd steal him easily. And she's like very flashy. Like, this is one of those people where she was the coolest person in the place where we were. But then in that potentially like definition of cool way, and yet with a lot of substance, in the same way you pick up a piece of wood and the lines on it are never the same, she's like got a cool pattern on her if she was a plank of wood. And you'd look at it and be like, fuck, like that's the perfect slice of that tree. Would I ask them to be a bridesmaid? They would not do that for me. And they've already got married and I wasn't invited. And I feel like if they were at my wedding, they would be one of the harshest critics. Maybe not of the whole thing, but potentially of the coupling. What surreal scene are we in? So we're like weird whack-a-mole bodies in a sea of whack-a-mole bodies just like us. But we keep surviving the set, so we have decided that we are twin sisters and have turned into professional dodgeball players who keep chanting, yeah, soulmates. But only we can hear that. But we sort of wish we weren't there together at all. But if given the option, we would choose to stay. Okay, with the next one, we're getting into slightly strange territory because this is the ex of a guy I tried to fuck that I got an insane degree of close to and have never actually met, purely in like weird retrospect. So are they an asset in the arena? This person's like climbed up Everest in the arena, and they're like having discussions with, like, they're almost like a Moses in the arena where they'd get the flaming tree talking to them. But they're somehow not religious at all. Like, if the flaming tree was like in an ad for secondhand like Puma, but like really deep and really authentically feminist. And I think I'd always look up to them in the arena, and they'd hate my guts. Like we could very well be actually opposite. And yet in some ways we're in agreement. Do I like, love, and or trust them? I really like this person. I might actually really love them and really trust them as well. But we're so different that it feels like liking, loving, and trusting your Pantone color that's like on the no matter what, it's completely opposite on this thing, on the color finder. Rate the connection out of 100. We're like a 24, and it's still kind of in La La Land because we've only spoken over message rarely, and yet I know kind of exactly what random shit to send her, even though I shouldn't. Would you like them to be your bridesmaid? I think they'd hate that. They'd potentially pull up to do it, and you could say you got them to do that, and it'd be kind of cool. But their presence would be kind of weird at a wedding. And what surreal scene are we in together? I think this is on the nose because we do actually know each other. It's just a weird connection. So I think we keep making horse noises like at each other and pointing a middle finger up, getting annoyed that the other person thinks those gestures are a symbol of friendship and not actual hate. And then we keep ringing up like old mathematicians with very little social skills to try and help us figure out why we hate each other so much, but they keep working children's tills instead with full focus and ignoring us. I think that's what that relationship is. Okay, last one. Are they an asset in the arena? I think they need help in the arena, but they keep charging on like they're new wave in the arena. Like they're like the newest person in there. Like they're the first, like the last person to have dropped in, and they're somehow like as new wave as it gets. But they're actually in dire need of help from everyone, and they keep like crying about it, and they do know stuff. They keep getting things kind of right, but they're also in other ways really behind. Do I like, love, and not trust them? This is the only person I've slept with in this list. I really like them. I think we sort of love each other. And then I think we trust each other, like we're in the same set of like kitchen utensils, but we also don't trust each other because we know we're too different to ever really serve the same purpose. Rate the connection out of 100. Either like a 59, a 31, or like a 77, if that helps. How upset would you be if they stole your man? This one's kind of like everyone's nightmare with that. And I think she knows it, but she pretends not to. I think this is like the stereotype of what you should be afraid of in this category. Would you ask them to be... I think they'd be a terrible bridesmaid. I think they'd be late. They wouldn't show up. They wouldn't do it. and they'd probably make it about them. And if I invited them to the wedding, I think they'd think they were too cool for it. But in the same breath, we did sort of live together. We are really close. We kind of do understand each other. And yet I think we don't make sense at all. Let me see if I can find the... Okay. So I met her after reading Remina's Eye, and thought her and the protagonist were similar. And then I was tasked by the cosmos to keep all white boys away from her at all costs. And no matter what, I succeed every single time. But she's extremely sick and dying as well. And every time I manage to shake them out of her spell, she comes back to life a little more. And it's actually a really lucrative Nike Japan commercial secretly funded by the American Navy. Yeah. I think that's what that relationship feels like.